Check, check. 1 2 1 2. I think I am on. Let's go face cam here and let's bring it in. Come on. Light on. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Got ourselves a severe weather threat. I'm going on live a little bit for now because we got an ongoing dangerous situation with severe weather. First things first, before we get to the actual warnings, I want to mention there is a severe thunderstorm watch that's in place right now, and I will take this off real quick. This is going to be for Baltimore County, Anne Arundel, Prince George's, Charles, St. Mary's, Calvert counties back east. That will go until 9. But full disclaimer, if you for most areas west of the Bay, you're good. The exception being far southern Maryland. Charles County, Calvert County, St. Mary's County, you still got to worry about storms. A little bit of PG County along the Patuxent River for a little bit, Aquasco, Eagle Harbor. But for the most part, you're starting to clear. We've had some storms try to fire off back west, but those have fallen apart. Um, let me update. Let me just update this real quick. That way you don't get the double audio there. But we do have a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. Multiple destructive severe thunderstorm warnings along the eastern shore right now. One's about to head into Centerville. One's about to head into Graysonville. One's over Chester. We got storms in Chestertown. This line has really started to pick up and mean business over the last 45 minutes. Queen Anne's County, Kent County, we have severe thunderstorm warnings. These could be rather significant and bring really strong damaging winds, and could be a deadly situation if not respected. Let me just cut over to this real quick. There we go. So here are your two views. This is Tracy's Landing, by the way, full disclaimer. That's down here towards Anne Arundel County. I'm about to clip this one off, but there was a shuff cloud earlier, and you could see towards the left end of the screen here, notice on the very far left end, that dark area, that gray area, that's heavy rain that's falling right now to the north of Tracy's Landing and the Harrington Harbor North entrance to the marina. So that's with that storm. That had a severe thunderstorm warning on it earlier, but that's during the weekend. It is this storm right now that is right over Stevensville that is causing major problems. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in place for 80-mile-per-hour winds ongoing in Kent County, Queen Anne's County, into northwestern portions of Caroline County. For this central warning that was issued first, that's going to drop at the bottom of the hour in 5 minutes. But there's another one that was expanded here. That's going to be dropped in about 20 minutes. So about 6:45, quarter to 7, that's going to get dropped. That has 70-mile-per-hour winds. But the big severe thunderstorm warning for 80-mile-per-hour winds down here in northern Talbot County, northwestern Caroline County, a good chunk of southern Queen Anne's County, for 80-mile-per-hour winds. That will go until the top of the hour, 7 o'clock. This is the view in Centerville right now as these storms are moving in. You can see the raindrops are wind-driven. The wind is picking up here in Centerville. I think I'm going to switch over to Dover real quick. Dover's kind of drag behind on the velocities, but there we are. That's as of a few minutes ago. So, goodness, I'm seeing 60s. Man, whoa. I'm seeing 2 pixels here. I don't know if you can see that, but that was 100 miles per hour. But we got heavy winds right now in Centerville on the order of 60 to 70 miles per hour right now as the leading edge of this thunderstorm rolls in. And that's elevated on radar observations. That's looking at about 2,000 to 3,000 feet. But it won't take much in this environment to translate those winds down to the ground. This is substantial here for Queen Anne's County, northern Talbot County, northwestern Caroline County, as a potential destructive thunderstorm is moving in. Please take this seriously. Moving back down south, we got more storms in Dorchester County that are getting ready to cross the state line into Sussex County, Delaware, northwestern portions of Wycomico County as well, north of 50 towards Sharptown, Riverton, Vienna. And then there's another storm in Princess Anne Somerset County right now, those are non-severe at the moment. But this big complex across the northern half of the eastern shore, along and north of 50 and along 301, is the big target in town right now, as we do have a dangerous situation in severe thunderstorms ongoing right now. And let me just pull up another camera here real quickly. I think could be interesting. I just saw two of them. Kent Narrows. Whoa, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take this one. This is 50 at the Kent Narrows Bridge here, right in Kent Narrows. Heavy rain falling right now. The wind is coming down as well. This is not good to be driving in. You can see the visibility is greatly decreased. This is becoming more of a dangerous situation to be out on the roads in right now. On US 50, on Kent Island, in western Queen Anne's County. And this is not too far away from Graysonville. This is about moving to Graysonville, as a matter of fact. So Graysonville, Queen Anne's County, you need to be indoors now, if not already. And if you're on the road, brace yourself, because this is going to get real ugly real fast in short order. So looking back at Centerville, I want to look at that real quick. Wind driven, rain, it's the visibility is going to come down here very soon. I got two cameras in Queenstown, by the way, that I can look at. 50 and 301 split. I'll take this one real quick. That's at 50 and 301 here in Queenstown. That's going to get ugly here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Real ugly. Let me just go back to Graysonville, for that matter. The Kent Narrows Bridge, and then, goodness. The visibility is even worse. The visibility is even worse right now in Kent Narrows and Graysonville, as the heart of this thunderstorm is moving over. This is bad stuff. This is pretty bad stuff that's ongoing. And that's been the problem. We've had a good chunk of rain. I'm going to look at the Maryland Mesonet real quick and see how much rain has fallen in the last hour alone in some of these locations. Actually, since midnight, probably would be a better estimate. Already 4,200 of an inch in Stevensville at the Maryland Mesonet there. That's impressive. And all of that has come within the last hour. In the last hour alone in Chestertown, 5,500 of an inch of rain, over half an inch of rain. These storms are big rain producers, and that's why we got flood warnings right now in Harford County and in Cecil County, because besides all the lightning, besides all the damaging winds, the rain is tremendous with these storms, and it's coming down at a very impressive rate. And the more that happens and the more prolonged that is, we're going to have big problems with this. And now we just got an update to this big severe thunderstorm warning that does include a good chunk of the Eastern Shore counties that are covered by Mount Holly, Kent, Queen Anne's, Caroline, Northern Talbot County, and also portions of Newcastle County, Delaware, and Kent County in Delaware as well. 70-mile-per-hour winds. Goodness, the lightning there in Kent Narrows. But there it is. That is observed. That is observed. We got, and the 80s observed as well. My word. It just never stops. It never stops. Let me just pull up this wording from Mount Holly. Radar indicated 70-mile-per-hour winds on that last one. Go to PHI and see what they did here. Radar indicated. So this is radar indicated, but they're also picking up on this as well on the radar, which is, I guess, why the system pops it up as observed. And this is a destructive threat for 80-mile-per-hour winds. Let me look at local storm reports here to see if there was any damage. We had a bunch of damage across PA, Philly, Bucks County, Chester County, Montgomery County, PA. There's been a bunch of thunderstorm wind damage reports, flash flooding as well. Let me look within the state here. All we've had so far is thunderstorm-related winds and gust damage reports as well. There was a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust near Chestertown here as of what would that be 6:17. That was as of 15 minutes ago. We had a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust near Chestertown at a personal weather station there. There was a 58-mile-per-hour wind gust, and remember, the minimum winds required for a severe thunderstorm warning is 58 miles per hour. That was in Harford County near Carson's at the airport in Harford County, the Harford County Airport there. Um, Two trees on a house in White Marsh in Baltimore County. And then St. Mary's County, 911, multiple reports of trees down at Lexington Park. Howard County, 911 reported multiple trees down in Columbia. Um, Howard County, multiple reports of trees down in Laurel. Numerous reports of wind damage from these thunderstorms this afternoon. St. Mary's County in Callaway, multiple reports of trees down via St. Mary's County 911. And in Point of Rocks, Frederick County, 2 trees reported down. So that's what we've had so far in the state. A lot of wind-related damage reports. Did this camera just go out? My goodness. Yeah, that camera in Kent Narrows just went out. I hope that wasn't like lightning related or power surge, but that camera in Kent Narrows is out. And now it's back on. Man. So that must have been a power hit, and Talbot County is now under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. Talbot County, severe thunderstorm warning in place right now for you. Move this down just a little bit. Let me pull up the information on this particular warning from Mount Holly. I'm assuming there we are. Considerable tag on that one as well. Let's pull up our severe thunderstorm warning information for this storm in Talbot County. At 6:33, a severe thunderstorm was located near Kent Point, or 9 miles east of Shadyside, moving east at 35 miles per hour. 70-mile-per-hour winds and ping pong ball-sized hail are the main threats with this for Talbot County and western and southwestern Caroline County as well. Man, this is starting to get ugly. I tell you. Eastern Shore, Greensboro, Denton, Easton, Federalsburg, Bethlehem, Trapp, Preston, batten down the hatches, because this is only gonna get worse before it gets better. Unfortunately, the way things seem right now, this is that line. We gotta go back to Centerville real quick. Centerville, it's probably nasty out there. 301, 213 there. Yeah, it's coming down at a good clip. I'm gonna look at 301 and Hope Road, see if that shows us anything too much. Well, the tower. That's 301 at 304 at the tower there on the east side of Centerville. There you are. That's at the Queen Anne's Safety Tower there, near Orchard View. That's where we're looking at right now. And you can see it's coming down at a good clip. That visibility from when we first saw it earlier has greatly decreased, and that's the danger in driving in storms like this. That 60 to 80 mile per hour winds could be very much possible with this. Let me just do another thing real quick. I'm gonna go over to the composite. Sorry, that's satellite composite, and I'm gonna look at a couple things real quick. We're gonna look at first things first. The probability of severe hail. There's where they're probably concerned about over Stevensville. Severe hail index. There's probably some really solid-sized hail that was in Stevensville earlier. That's probably why they pulled the trigger on the warning out here in Talbot County. Simply because of that. I'm not surprised. And that's moving more east southeast. So unfortunately, that comes as no surprise there. Hail wasn't the biggest threat today with this ongoing severe threat, but you can see here we're getting into the reds range, and reds are what you were looking what you would look to see if you were dealing with 1 inch hail or larger. Once we start talking pinks and purples, then we start talking brass tacks about some much larger hail. Looking at the hail swath over the last 30 minutes, hasn't been the most impressive. I mean, we've had maybe a little bit of severe hail over the bay north of Kent Island, but even then, it's just been Mattapique to Dominion, the southern end of Kent Island here, that's been dealing with the largest hail. Over the last 2 hours, not the greatest either. As I said, hail's not going to be the biggest threat today, although in isolated areas, you can never rule it out. There's your Ville. Ville is rather strong. The density's not the greatest, but it's there. Looking at the swallows over the last 2 hours, there's been some potential for hail, but even then, some of that hasn't really translated to the ground. Rotation tracks. This is a way of indicating wind, and we've seen a little bit of the rotation tracks, and usually this would be good in trying to find the rotation and simplify where the rotation has crossed over a period of time. But in this case today, in this context, this is a good indicator for where some of the strongest winds have been, and it's been southern Anne Arundel County. It has been the Eastern Shore. It has been up into Cecil County with this, at least within the last half hour. The last 2 hours, you can see there's that track of some of the stronger winds earlier from 270, Gaithersburg to Olney, Skaggsville, the north side of Laurel, and just south of Columbia, right by Thurgood Airport, right by the Thurgood Marshall International Airport. That's where we've had some of those damaging wind reports, and that does not surprise me whatsoever. It correlates with that very well. And over the last 2 hours, that's why we've had some of the reports. Falls of Rough is right here, I think. Actually, not Falls of Rough, I'm sorry. Point of Rocks, I'm confusing places. But Point of Rocks, not surprising there. We had some really strong winds across Loudoun County into Frederick County, Jefferson County, Southern Washington County as well. This has been bad. This has been very bad, suffice to say. But this is what we have to deal with. Very heavy rain that's blinding now out in Centerville, out in the East End. And you can, if you can see it just enough, you can see the contrast where we have the sheets of rain ongoing. So, not the best conditions to drive in right now in Centerville. Let me just take this view off real quick. Where is this heading next? It is Talbot County. Now, this is where things get a little complicated. Dorchester County. Your jurisdiction is Wakefield, Virginia, the Richmond, Norfolk office. I wouldn't be surprised if they issue warnings here soon, but the way, as I said in previous streams, this is a little bit convoluted in terms of jurisdictions once you get to the Eastern Shore. West of the Bay, it's simple. Everybody's controlled by Baltimore, Washington, at least within the state. But Eastern Shore, I'll explain it one more time because it gets a little convoluted. Mount Holly is Cecil County, okay? And then Dorchester, actually, really, Talbot and Caroline counties. Caroline County, and I'll draw a better line here. I'm sorry. Caroline County, Kent, Queen Anne's counties in Maryland. Actually, no. What am I doing? What am I doing? Cecil County, you belong to Sterling. Y'all down here in central portions of the Delmarva Peninsula, or the Eastern Shore for that matter, as I call it. Kent, Queen Anne's, Caroline, Talbot, Dorchester, not even Dorchester. Kent, Queen Anne's, Caroline, Talbot, you're belonging to Mount Holly, or the Philadelphia office. And then Dorchester County, point southward, you have your jurisdiction belonging to the Wakefield, Virginia office, or Richmond, Norfolk, if we want to get technical with major cities. But that's the major lay of the land in terms of the Eastern Shore. That's why sometimes these warnings come out and they're a little convoluted. And you may ask, why doesn't it include Talbot County on this particular warning, but it does include, um, ta- um, or should I say, why doesn't it include Dorchester County? Forgive me, it's been a tiring day here trying to track some of these storms on my own and contemplating whether I wanted to really get the message out here and stream per se, but the wording on these warnings got too much for me not to, because this is serious stuff. But understand that is why they only have the warnings out for Caroline County, Talbot County, and not Dorchester. Now, technically, the polygon, based on the mapping here, does clip portions of Dorchester County in, as compared to just having a broader warning for, let's say, examples being Caroline County, Talbot County. But that's why the jurisdictions kind of get so convoluting down this portion of the state, because you got a little strip of land here that's split by three offices, essentially speaking. So that is why. So really, from about the bridge in Cambridge and points north, we got a severe thunderstorm warning in place. And I'm assuming with the back build of this line here to the south and west, we'll probably have a warning here soon for Dorchester County if things continue to develop. Although I will say the southern half of the line has had a hard time congealing and developing at some point today. It's mainly been this northern half, this northern complex that's been giving us the fits. But that's the main lay of the land. I'm just going to say it now. Everybody west of the Chesapeake Bay that's not in Caroline County, or that's not in, I'm sorry, not Caroline County, Calvert County and St. Mary's County. Everybody's west of the bay that's not in Calvert County or St. Mary's County, you're good. Other than that, we still have these storms ongoing in Calvert County, St. Mary's County, and then the Eastern Shore. Could I start clipping off some counties here on the Eastern Shore? Technically speaking, yes. Cecil County, you're done with the severe aspect of this. Kent County, you got to hang on about another 30, 45 minutes. And they just issued another update to this warning. It expires now. Are they just going to drop it? That's what I'm thinking, if they're going to do that. All right, the severe thunderstorm warning for Newcastle, northwestern Kent, Queen Anne's, northwestern Caroline, and Kent counties. This big warning here that does go up into Delaware, that will get dropped at 6:45. So Kent County, the severe aspect of this, you're just about done with, and there goes that warning, and out of here. So really, we're down to Queen Anne's County, Caroline County, Talbot County with this particular subset. But that may get expanded southward here. Let me pull up another camera. I know just where it could get real interesting. Y Mills. This thing, if it ain't on Y Mills, it's going to be soon. It's about to be in Y Mills. Right by Chesapeake College. I'll take 50 at 213. Goodness, that's on the north side of Y Mills, and that is intense rain that is falling right now on the north side of Y Mills near Chesapeake College. My goodness, that's heavy. That's the type of rain where you just slow down and you pull over to the side. Simply put, let me look at the Y Mills Tower, and it's picking up there too. It is in Y Mills in full effect right now. The heavy rain. There's a Maryland Mezzo on that site, conveniently enough, in Y Mills. What is that showing us? 72. Sustained winds at 24, gusting to 31. It got up to 92 this afternoon, and we're already 20 degrees down. How about that? It was 89 at 5:18 or at 6:18. So not even 30 minutes ago, just barely, we were in the upper 80s, lower 90s, and now we're all the way down to 72. And is this a new severe thunderstorm warning that just got dropped? No, they got upgraded. 80-mile-per-hour winds right now, approaching northwestern Caroline County now, Roofsburg, Hillsborough, um, right along Queen Anne Highway. This is going to include. Actually, we got a pop-up thunderstorm right here in the Twin Cities of Hillsborough and Queen Anne. I'll zoom in tight, but here it is. I believe this is Tuckahoe Creek right here that splits the Twin Cities of Queen Anne and Hillsborough. But that's where we got some heavy rain right now in Queen Anne, just across the creek. And we got this big line that's coming in behind it with some big time lightning and heavy winds up to 80 miles per hour. Welcome to Maryland. This is where we get some very unsettled weather. And wow. Hold on. I'm getting no data here. So the wind's starting to really intensify, or is it just the radar being the radar? It might be the radar being the radar. This is from 642. TV's from 645. Dover sometimes lags on us. That's what I think happens. They lag on the velocity data and the reflectivity data coming in at about the same time. And I've seen this with both radar systems I've used for streams. So, yeah. But we're dealing with 50 to 55 mile per hour winds, and that's 60. I'm seeing some 60s near Roofsburg as of 642. And that wouldn't surprise me. We got some very heavy winds that are ongoing. Did that tower cam just go out? It probably just did. Good grief. Let's also look at power outages here, because I think the power outages are going to get real interesting real fast. But that wind there in Y Mills, I'm not surprised as to perhaps power being knocked down. We have so much electrical energy with this. That wouldn't surprise me either. Easton. I'm going to go down to Easton, and hopefully they have power. Whoa! Take a look at this. Look at that dark sky out in the south side of Easton looking back to the northwest. That's heavy. I'm going to take a look at some other cams here if I can find anything good. Not really. I'm down near downtown. It's starting to rain a little bit, but not the captivating shot that we got here. This is on the southwest side of Easton. Take a look at this. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, and I'm going to explain this to you. All right, so I'm back. I just had to get my headphones going here. But goodness, what you probably see here near the header of the location and near the MDOT logo, that super dark strip, that is likely the shelf cloud. And I'll put on my capture cursor mode for this. But you could see here, if you see my red cursor, right up here, this is where we have that shelf cloud. And behind that big gray area is the wall of water. Good grief, the lightning is intense. That's about to roll up right into Easton right now. Serious, serious business. If you're in Easton, be indoors. This lightning's no joke right now. This is serious stuff. And we got outflow boundary as well. So these storms are becoming outflow dominant with this outflow boundary. And what's happening is that wind is pushing out. So the wind is pushing out ahead of these storms right here. And that's why We could see some rather heavy wind in southern Caroline County, southern Talbot County as well, out ahead of all the heavy rain and the lightning that's bearing down. I mean, this is coming into Easton right now. That is a nasty, nasty thunderstorm that is on camera at this moment. And I'm going to stick with this. And that warning, pardon me, did it get upped? I hope not. I just got bumped down to 70. Good. But still, considerable damage tag. Ping pong ball sized hail, 70-mile-per-hour winds. They're about to move into the eastern area right now. So for all of Talbot County, Western Caroline County, even to Dorchester County, this is getting ugly. I mean, I've seen numerous cloud to ground lightning strikes within the last few seconds with this picture. This is impressive. This is something that quite honestly, it scares you. Lightning, full transparency. Ironically, though, for a meteorology major, kind of petrifies me. A couple of those lightning strikes kind of petrified me a little bit. And I'm way up in the Baltimore Metro. And I'm looking at this from the camera in Easton. Yeah. This is that type of storm. And we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Dorchester County, the northern portion of Dorchester County, that does include the cities of Cambridge and Algonquin. So let me pull up the data on that. That is for 60-mile-per-hour winds with the southern half of this line. And I'm assuming the notification will come up here shortly for that. Let me pull up. And there's the notification. Northern Dorchester County, a severe thunderstorm warning in place until 8 o'clock. How about that? 60-mile-per-hour winds. Cambridge around 7:20. UMass around 7:15. Taylor's Island around 7 o'clock. Secretary around 7:25. Hurlock around 7:30. And we got a severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Caroline County, northern Sussex County, and a good chunk of Kent County, Delaware as well. That will go until... There's that notification that will go until 8 o'clock. On this particular one itself, 60-mile-per-hour wind. So if we're getting the downgrade on these warnings, that is very good news. These storms are becoming outflow dominant, and that may also take away some of the potency, at least on the leading edge in terms of the winds. But nonetheless, you got to take these seriously, especially all the lightning that's been going on. Not something to joke with. It is raining very heavily in downtown Easton right now with the leading edge of this line. I'm going to pull up a camera here real quickly in downtown Easton. Or just near downtown on the east end. There it is. That's all the heavy rain that's moving through the heart of Easton right now. There's even more back towards St. Michael's and Anchorage and Unionville, Tunis Mills that's about to move through at this very moment. So be prepared, Southeastern, for this storm. It's about to move in here in a second. There's that view. And you can see it's lighting up a little bit only because we're now in such close proximity that the rain is about to move in. So there it is. There's your state of affairs. Got your severe thunderstorm warnings for Queen Anne's County, Talbot County, Caroline County, northern Dorchester County. Got more storms here. Southeastern Wycomico County, getting out of Somerset County into western Worcester County, Pocomoke City, up to Nassawango Hills, north of Snow Hill, near Wango and Southern Pines. These are non-severe, these low clusters, but will put down a good chunk of rain here in a short amount of time. More storms south of the Potomac across the Rappahannock Valley here of Virginia. So portions of Essex County, Richmond County, Westmoreland County, North Cumberland County are getting in on those. Still some thunderstorms here in Calvert County as this line tries to back build, but we'll see how that progresses over the next 30 minutes or so. And then we just got some light rain here across the eastern half of Metro Baltimore and Metro DC, and then back to the west. Notice the severe thunderstorm watch has been dropped for a few of our counties. So Carroll County, Howard, Montgomery, Frederick County, back west, you're clear. I would honestly say, as I said a little bit earlier, everybody west of the Bay, with the exception of Calvert County and St. Mary's County, you're in the clear. Just watch out for flash flooding. We've had that concern up in Harford County and Cecil County, and that may be the case as this continues through Queen Anne's County because there's been a lot of rain in Queen Anne's County as well. There's your storm moving into Easton. 60 to 70 mile per hour winds now on the table. The wording on these storms have started to subside a little bit, which is in the right direction, but nonetheless, you're dealing with 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. That's significant. That could be a deadly situation if not respected. And then these pop-up thunderstorms here. That's the lay of the land. That's it. That's the only action we got in the state so far as of this moment. And we've had all the damage earlier, all the problems that we've had. Let me look at real quickly. I want to look at actually, let's take a look at this sunset real quick over Sandy Cove and Northeast. The town of Northeast here in Cecil County. How about this for a sunset? Bam. The contrast. That is Northeast. That is right on the Northeast River here. That's near Sandy Cove in Cecil County as these storms are pulling away. How about that view as these storms start to pull away and we get closer to sunset? Ain't that something? That's the duality of weather. Beautiful from a distance, scary up close. But there is that. Let me look at power outages real quick. This is as of 6:55. We're now at about the 7 o'clock hour. Why is it always that I check the time? It seems like it happens at the top of the hour. I don't know. But nonetheless, let me pull this up real quickly. We'll go and display capture. This. That should be on top of everything. There you go. So you can see here, here's our power outage map, and I have to modify things a little bit. In Talbot County, we got 300 out of 5,700 tracked. We got 3,200 out right now in Howard County. In the city, only 200 out. 1,500 out in Baltimore County. 2,200 out in Anne Arundel County. Harford County, 4,300 out of 115,000. This is where we've had some of the most issues with the thunderstorms and the flooding potential. Queen Anne's County, 1,000 out. So I anticipate those numbers may go up somewhat, especially these storms are moving through Talbot County and Caroline County and into Dorchester County. But right now, that's where we stand. Across the entire state, almost 18,000 customers are out of what, over 2.5 million. So a fraction of the state, but still, if you're without power, very inconvenient for you. Very, very inconvenient for you, of course. BGD tracking 11,000, almost 12,000 customers out, 11,830, over 2,600 out, according to Delmarva Power. PAPCO reporting 2,700 out. The Soma Electric Cooperative reporting 450 out right now. And then there's a few providers that don't have customers tracked. Eastern Utilities, that's going to be an interesting one because we may not get some information that's close to 11,000 there. Yeah, the Williamsport Utilities that have 1,000. Hagerstown Electric Division, that's over 17,000, almost 18,000 customers there. That's some storms earlier, but that's the lay of the land in terms of power outages as well. Not a big chunk of the state, but still, if you're without power, that's still very inconvenient, of course. So there is that. I'm gonna go and take that off, and we're gonna cut over here. Heavy rain, lightning going on in Easton right now. That camera is going to become whiteout conditions here soon. With all this rain and the storms are coming in, that's going to become whiteout conditions here very, very soon. Denton, these storms are bearing down on you. Northern Caroline County, you're getting in on some pretty heavy storms. Northern Talbot County. Let me go and pull up a camera in Denton real quick. We'll do Denton. Let's do the 404 313. So this is 404 313. Right by the overpass there. Nothing too crazy yet, but it's going to pick up business here soon. I'm going to pull up West Denton real quick. See if that's showing anything too interesting. I don't really think so, although there's some clouds in the distance. There it is. Here at the top left corner of your screen. So that's what's going on in Denton. Things are going to pick up here very quickly in Denton soon. Let me look at the Mesonet maximum wind gust, because this is going to be very interesting. Peak wind gust as of 7 o'clock, the top of the hour. It's 7:03 now. 39 mile per hour wind gust in Chestertown, 40 in Ridgely. So not the worst so far, but I wonder what the ASOS reading stations will pick up here shortly as these reports get in. Let's look at the temperatures right now. Still in the upper 80s down here in the lower Delmarva. Still hanging on to 80s. It's rebounded into the low to mid 80s out here in Washington County, according to the Mesonet. I'll just pop this up real quick so you can see it. There it is. I mean, we're in the low to mid 80s back in Washington County now. Down the lower Delmarva, we got mid 80s. It's like we have a little bit of a rebound after these storms that we had earlier this afternoon out in those areas along the Potomac. And now they're refiring again, or at least trying to refire across the West Virginia Panhandle and Northern Virginia, because the atmosphere has had a little bit of time to try to regroup. Dew points are still very moist, 70s as of the moment. Humidity still rather goodness gracious, humidity's impressive because of those temperatures being cooled off here as the rain came through earlier this afternoon. Lake Montebello right now is at 76. Towson the same, 75 in Clarksville. At Stevensville it's 75, at 72 in Chestertown, as the rain and the storms all came through earlier this afternoon. And look at this. Look at our maximum temperatures this afternoon. No wonder we had such bad storms, because we were in the low to mid 90s, and we've had heat indexes be as high as 105, pushing 110, with dew points that were in the 70s, borderline 80 in some locations along the coastal waters. So a lot of energy to work with today, and that's what led to all the severe weather that we have dealt with. Now let me do something real quick. I'm going to take this and we're going to go back to radar, and we're going to get back here down into the Eastern Shore and the Delmarva with these thunderstorms here. Now the second these storms start dropping below 70 miles per hour and hail starts dropping back down to 1 inch or less, I will probably turn off the stream, just because, yes, it is significant, but this is not like seriously life-threatening weather as long as you know what to do in the grand scheme of things, like garden variety severe thunderstorms. Now, if we start upping the ante again and seeing 70, 80 mile per hour winds on some of these warnings again, I'll have to stay on. But that's where we're at right now in terms of the stream. We've been going for the last 45 minutes on this. That's the lay of the land. That's it. That's all that I can give you for right now in terms of all the information that I have been trying to source and work through. I will once again check our Storm reports. Thunderstorm wind gust in Caroline County and Ridgely 40 miles per hour. That was reported as of 20 to 25 minutes ago. That was in Ridgely. Queen Anne's County and Centerville, trees and wires down in Centerville. Cecilton, multiple trees reported down in and around Cecilton, according to Cecil County 911. That's some of the newer reports that have come in. And then this warning in Easton, did it get, it's just updated still. 70-mile-per-hour winds, ping pong ball sized hail. That will be expiring at quarter after, so 7:15 there. And then we got more storms back to the south. This is 60-mile-per-hour winds. This is 60. So if this gets downgraded as these storms move through, then I will outside check it for any more reports or new warnings. That'll be it for the stream. And that's the update for that one that was just flashed earlier. So you still got your warnings here for southern Queen Anne's County, into Caroline County, Talbot County, northern Dorchester County. And you will see the expiration dates here at the bottom of your screen for that. There's your severe thunderstorm watch that just ran through. So Dorchester County until 8 o'clock for the severe thunderstorm warning. Caroline, Queen Anne's, Talbot County for the considerable tag. That will be expiring here at 7:15. So there is warnings, and then just your plain severe thunderstorm warning here. Kent County, Delaware, Sussex County, Delaware, Caroline, Queen Anne's, Talbot counties. That will go until 8 o'clock. So that is the general just the things. You got your flash flood warnings up to the north. And then I have a feeling by the top of the hour, we're going to start shaving off the entire western shore, if we haven't already. Because these storms are starting to get to a point where they're progressing past Calvert County, progressing past St. Mary's County. Calvert and St. Mary's counties have been spared today. Southern Maryland, in general, has not had too much to deal with today in terms of overall severe weather. Everything, almost everything, has been to the north. Yes, there's been one severe thunderstorm warning down in Southern Maryland this afternoon, but really nothing as of to really significantly note as compared to the Metro, the Eastern Shore, and the Delmarva. And then these storms are finally getting past Philadelphia. We still got tornado warnings in New Jersey. How about that? Some of these rotations have been rather persistent. You got considerable damage tags where these storms are approaching. I believe that would be Ocean County and Monmouth County, New Jersey, with this storm right here, Burlington County as well. I forgot how big Burlington County, New Jersey actually is. But it storms there into Salem County, New Jersey, Gloucester, Cumberland County, New Jersey, Vineland, Millville, Bridgeton. If you have any friends along the way towards Ocean City, New Jersey, or Atlantic City, New Jersey, Atlantic County, New Jersey, towards Hamilton Township, and Egg Harbor, that's something for them to watch because the storm is starting to congeal on the northern end as well over the Delaware Bay. So there is everything. We'll see what happens with this warning here in Talbot County. Does it get downgraded to 60-mile-per-hour winds? What is this one? 70-mile-per-hour winds that expires at 8 o'clock. So I'll be here for a little bit. I will be here for just a little bit longer. And the severe thunderstorm watch just got updated. Is that gonna? I wonder if that's just gonna pop up here, and if they're just gonna shave off more counties. Pardon me. And there's that new warning until 8 o'clock. I'll just read off the tags here. Severe thunderstorm warning until 8 o'clock for southeastern Talbot and southeast and southern Caroline counties. And that will actually 8:15 for that matter. Pardon me. At 7:11, severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from near Easton to near Hambleton to near Oxford, moving east at 25 miles per hour. The hail's been downsized to quarters, but we still have 70-mile-per-hour winds to potentially worry about in Easton. Heading towards Denton, Federalsburg, Trapp, Preston, Oxford, Taynard, Smithville, Harmony, Agner, Matthews, Choptank, Hambleton, Windy Hill, and Cordova. Large hail damaging winds are occurring, but also frequent cloud-to-ground lightning is noted within this bulletin. And I'm not surprised. The Eastern Cam has been going non-stop with lightning for the last little bit, so that doesn't necessarily surprise me there. Looking at the winds, definitely a pocket of 60 to 70 right here. That could be potentially ongoing. I'm seeing radar indications that it's around 60, but with the way the winds are being pushed out with these storms today, could that be 70? Definitely. And that's right here within this little comma head. Trapp to Barber, to Browse Mill, Haven, Algonquin, hanging to Cambridge. I wonder if they upped the wording. No, they did not. Wakefield did not up the wording yet on this warning, so that is interesting. And again, they're probably busy with their own slew of warnings right now, especially down towards Newport News and Wakefield itself and the office there. But that's where we are with this right now. This storm in Talbot County, this one's been persistent. It's been going for the better part of 2 hours now. This whole complex has been dangerous. We've been streaming for about almost an hour at this point, and for a majority of that hour, it's just been persistently strong. It is not really let up in terms of just overall strength, at least on the wind end of this. It was at 80 miles per hour. It bumped down to 70, but it's been still hanging on to some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds on the table. Let me look at our scans. I'll up this to 15 and just show you the history. There you can see all the storms that moved through, and it's been persistent. Talbot County has been under an assault of rain, wind, and lightning for some time now. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing flash flood warnings out in Queen Anne's County here soon, if that does come to fruition, and then the lower portions of the eastern shore. It's been raining a good bit out here as well. Let me look at the real quickly, the precipitation totals. 1 hour, rather strong across the eastern shore. Storm totals. I mean, once you start talking those greens on the color scale, you're talking about an inch plus. Probably towards 2. Especially like those darker greens, you're talking 2 inches. So that's where we are right now in Harford and Cecil County. That's why they've had concerns about flooding. If things continue on that trend here, we're going to have issues with flooding in Talbot County, Queen Anne's County as well. I'm starting to see a little bit of green here in Kent County as well in terms of the rain totals, but that's where we are. The watch just got updated. Let me just give you the rundown. Let me just take this off. So, watch and warning wise, and I'll take off this camera here in Easton for a second. The watch has been dropped for PG, Anne Arundel, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Harford, Cecil. All have been dropped. Charles County has not been dropped, but I would honestly just call you dropped at this point. Charles County, you're essentially done with severe weather. I'd say at most on the Western Shore, it is Calvert County, the southern half, and it is St. Mary's County that we have to look out for. And then most of the Eastern Shore, I think Kent County, you could say you're done. Queen Anne's County, you're close. And then it's just Talbot, Caroline points to the south that we would have to worry about at that juncture. Pardon me, I had a little bit of hiccups today. But that's where we are with this. Storm out in Clark County, getting into Loudoun. That's the closest thing on the board, and that's going to fizzle out because this atmosphere's been used up. It's just the heating of the day out in the 81 corridor. They've had a little bit of time to regroup and produce some more thunderstorms, but it hasn't been too great. Let me look at the ASOS readings also in terms of total damaging winds, like the maximum damaging winds, and also just total rainfall. I'll go to, let's go here. There's a 57-mile-per-hour wind gust at Churchville. Harford County earlier. 48-mile-per-hour wind gust at Fort Meade. 77 at the base, as I mentioned earlier. That was the one down in St. Mary's County that went into Dorchester out ahead of this main line that was having my concern. And then I see a 46. That was at Thurgood. 31-mile-per-hour wind gust from Stevensville. So these storms, they've produced some winds that are substantial, but also another thing to keep in mind, there are not too many observation sites along the Eastern Shore in terms of the ASOS network. Now, the Maryland Mesonet, that's more widespread, and there's, as I mentioned earlier, those have been 30, 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts at the absolute most. So those winds may be a little elevated in terms of the ASOS observations and the Maryland Mesonet observations compared to the readings on the radar, because again, radar is a little elevated compared to just ground truth. But again, it wouldn't have taken much to get a brief gust of 60, 70, 80 and do some substantial damage to somebody's house. Speaking of rainfall, let me do this real quick. Sorry. Let's pull up our radar. Actually, not radar. Rainfall totals. Wow, downtown, the Science Center, we were at 101 before some of these storms hit. How about that? At Thurgood, we got up to 96 before these storms came through. So, again, we had a lot of energy to work with. Westminster was at 97. The heat indices were probably well over 100 degrees. I'm thinking probably over 105 in a lot of instances as well. Dew points were upper 70s, lower 80s. So we had a lot of energy to work with. In terms of rainfall, Churchville, Harford County, an inch and a half. At the Andrews base, a little over a third at Thurgood as well. Some locations, I haven't seen much in terms of recorded rain on some of these observation sites, whether they measure rain or not. But let me check Frederick real quick. Did Frederick? Frederick has, I haven't seen precipitation close from Frederick yet, but let me look at the weather page, and let's look at I wonder if they have the list. nothing yet. I haven't seen anything yet in terms of the regional summary. Usually these come out around 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time or like 7:30 standard, but we have a new warning that's been updated. That's gonna be let's just verify that. Dorchester County probably got updated. Was it this one? Yeah, this was a warning for Kent County, Clarence County. It was updated 60-mile-per-hour winds. Actually, Kent County, Kent County, Delaware, Kent County, Delaware, Sussex County, Delaware, Caroline County, Talbot County. That's 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's this one right here. You still have the warning in Southern Caroline County, Talbot County for 60-mile-per-hour winds in Dorchester. That's the general warning that I'm getting right now from this. Nasty thunderstorms are going to pop up here in Sussex County and then northern Worcester County. This is west of Ocean City here. St. Martin to Showell to Campbell, Gumboro, Bethel across the state line into Millsboro, Dagsboro, heading towards Bethany Beach and Fenwick Island as well. Just got some other things here. Forgive me for the silence. Just trying to make sure everything is squared away. Well, St. Mary's County, the far southern portions of St. Mary's County, from Point Lookout up to Callaway in California, Lexington Park, got a storm that's approaching you. This is going to be right Piney Point, the Webster North Airport, St. Mary City, Dameron, Scotland, Point Lookout. That's moving to the northeast. So for those of you in this area, Great Mills as well, that's going to be approaching you here shortly with some heavy rain, some lightning, maybe some gusty winds as well. Not severe at the moment. And then this heavy thunderstorm here, it's going to probably have a hard time in Clark County and Loudoun County. That one's going to have a hard time as it moves east because we're starting to lose the heating of the day a little bit, and a lot of this environment's been used up by the thunderstorms earlier. So that will probably help our cause there. We still have these thunderstorms here in Talbot County and Caroline County that are warned for 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds. This is moving into Cambridge now, and that's the reason why the warning was issued for about an hour out because of this. It was going to take a while to move through, but they wanted to give as much warning time as they could to Dorchester County, especially along the river, the Choptank River there in Cambridge, Algonquin. They wanted to give as much warning as they could just to give a heads up, hey, there's a thunderstorm that's about to move in. and that's probably why they issued it as early as the Weather Service of Wakefield issued the warning as early as they did. Um, More than the storms back towards Smith Island, getting ready to move into Somerset. Another one near in Worcester County. Stronger one just north of the state line, but nothing major. Nothing major. And then this warning here in Kent County, Delaware, Sussex County, Delaware, that extends back into like a majority of Caroline County, and then eastern Talbot County. That one's for 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's your garden variety. And some of this is weakening. And that's the one good thing. And they just issued another severe thunderstorm warning. A new severe thunderstorm warning issued by the Baltimore Washington office for far southern Calvert County and the southern portions of St. Mary's County. That's why we're going to pop up in the notification here in a second. This is going to be until, and let me pop this up. The notification will probably sound in a second. To 8:15, and that's for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. At 7:27, a severe thunderstorm was located over Tall Timbers. A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued. Moving northeast at 20 miles per hour, and there's that new notification for that one. Lexington Park, Chesapeake Ranch Estates, Piney Point, Tall Timbers, Cuckold Creek, Town Creek, St. Mary's City, St. Mary's River, White Point Beach, California, Lusby, Patuxent River Naval Air Station, Drum Point, Dow, Valley Lee, Great Mills, Redgate, Drayton, Park Hall, and Callaway are all in the path of this severe thunderstorm, and this is also producing a good chunk of lightning as well. These storms, because of the energy that we've had today, are very electric, and lightning is going to be almost at continuum with a lot of these this afternoon and into this evening. So that's where we are now with this. So for those in St. Mary's County and Calvert County, you want to be on alert for this and moving indoors as soon as you can. And that's why I said I'm not going out our counties along the Potomac. I think Charles County, you had some storms earlier that may help your cause, but then again, we have more storms back towards Charlottesville that are trying to develop, and you never know how those may try to back build to the north. So there is that. But also what I think is also trying to happen is that this thunderstorm is trying to make another attempt at a merger. Here we are. And the warning just came out for Tappahannock. This line may be trying to solidify again, merging with the energy to the south to form a more solidified threat again for the Delmarva, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. That's an observation that I've been trying to make. Like, we've had multiple times where this storm system or these complexes could have merged, and it's just struggled to back build to the south. So watch, we had the line solidified earlier. We had the storm out in St. Mary's County. We had the storms in the metro. And then they kind of broke up towards the Potomac River on the south end. The northern end, it really got strong. We had the damaging wind situation on the northern half of the eastern shore. We had a thunderstorm warning down in PG County, Calvert County, and Arundel. And then this line started to strengthen a little bit and consolidate to the central and lower portions of the eastern shore before once again trying to make another merging attempt. So we had the first merger, then we had a second merger, then that broke up, and now it's potentially in the process of making a third merger here towards the south as it's trying to stay alive and collect all the energy that's still remaining out here ahead of it. So very interesting complex that we've had here this afternoon and this evening across the state. That's the 70-mile-per-hour winds. So the warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds essentially is like this. I'm just going to draw it real quick. There's your warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds. That's the outline essentially for that one. Velocity I'm still seeing pockets of stronger winds over Trap, near Barber, Waddell's Corner. Some stronger winds, but I don't think it's nearly as oppressive as it was, let's say, 25, 30 minutes ago, not even 15 minutes ago, as compared to more recently now. I mean, there it is as it was moving through Claiborne and St. Michael's. That was strong. As it moved through Easton or the northwest side, that was strong as well. And then it kind of gained a little bit more steam on the south side. And now it's, I think this storm is also trying to gust out a little bit as well. So I think our damaging wind threat is starting to become a little less organized right now, at least for the time being, as this moves through Talbot County and into Dorchester County. Most of Caroline County right now, you are mostly dealing with just heavy rain and a bunch of lightning, especially the southern half. Denton, North Ward, things are starting to really improve. I get it. It's raining. You still got thunder. You still got lightning nearby, but you don't really have the severe activity that's ongoing per se. You might be done with this in about 30 to 45 minutes with the rain period. And then from there, you should be okay for the rest of the night, severe weather wise. Looking back towards the south, again, we got that severe thunderstorm warning at St. Mary's County. This one right here that's north of OC just got warned as well in Sussex County. That one's trying to back build south. That could be a problem for the far northern side of Ocean City here. I'm talking probably north of, let's say, 94th Street for a good measure, over towards Assawoman Bay, Fenwick Island, Bayville, Selbyville, near the state line. But that's essentially what's going on there. And then just this line, this congealment, if you want to call it that. It's not really a line at this point, if you want to call it that. It's just disorganized. Dorchester County just been updated. 60-mile-per-hour winds. The hail size is probably at best P to nickel-sized hail. 70-mile-per-hour winds still with this warning. That's the reason why I'm still on right now, because of that threat for 70-mile-per-hour winds, and that is a danger to the public. But I think that threat is slowly starting to subside, and thank goodness. But nonetheless, something will have to very much watch for as this moves across the Choptank River into Dorchester County. So there we are. Let's see if we got any new updates here from Holly. No, not outside the area. Outside the area. Outside the area. All these statements are from the storms up in Jersey right now. They're just now getting towards the Atlantic coastline. And New York City's dealing with storms, but they're non-severe right now. That's the good news up here. So you're not dealing with too much over there. Jersey's been a different story. PA's been a different story with all the severe thunderstorm warnings, the tornado warnings that have been there, and then not to mention the flash flood concerns along the Susquehanna, along the Delaware River as well. Checking for any wind threat. It's still there. Not the most impressive, but actually not as bad as it was. Let me word this a little differently. Not as bad as it was earlier, but still, I'm still seeing pockets of 40 to 50 mile per hour winds within these storms right now. Over towards Hurlock and East Newmarket, towards Cambridge and Erie and Madison. But that's it. That's essentially it. Besides all the heavy rain and the lightning that's falling right now across Dorchester County and Talbot County and Caroline County as well. Any new storm reports that I can observe? Nothing as of yet. Well, let me just look just to make sure, because some of these may be time coordinated, just added on. Rain, thunderstorm, wind near Middle River of 52 miles per hour. Or and we also had, just verify some of these. The Obolus quarters there on the Marine Station. There was a wind gust of 44 miles per hour near Tolchester. 48 mile per hour winds. That was a marine thunderstorm wind there. Near the Proving Ground, 39 mile per hour marine thunderstorm wind. And that's the update for this storm in Calvert County here for 60 mile per hour winds. And they just updated this portion here down in Talbot County. Was it extended? It might have been extended. Yeah, that's extended until 8:15. So there it is for 70 mile per hour winds. I would imagine though, probably by top of the hour, these warnings are gonna start getting shaved off. And that's the one we just talked about. The hail size just got bumped down to 1 inch, but we still got 70 mile per hour winds on the table. Any updates on power outages? Yeah, the total has actually not been terrible. It might have decreased from when we last talked about this. It's now at 15,977. Um, about 3,000 out in Montgomery County, 1,800 out in Howard, and Arundel about 2,500 out. 700 out in Calvert County, St. Mary's County, almost 400, around 400 in Talbot. We just got an update. This was this warning out here. I just got up to 70. That's the one. Oh, they just shaved off the northern half of Talbot County and Caroline County from this 60 mile per hour warning. It's just Southern Caroline, Southern Talbot with 60 to 70 mile per hour winds on the table. And this warning up here in Sussex County is now 60 mile per hour winds still, and hail up to the size of quarters. This storm right here in Lexington Park and Callaway, Great Mills, that's capable of producing 60 mile per hour winds, and then more storms down towards the Delmarva. I wouldn't be surprised if that warning for 70 mile per hour winds gets downgraded here soon, because I'm still seeing some pockets of winds 40 to 50 miles per hour. But I'm gonna be honest with you, this is this is not even getting up to the 50-mile per hour range now. It's struggling. I don't know if that's just because of the radar angle that we're looking at here, but even the away signals here in Delaware, in terms of our velocity, not the greatest. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets downgraded or they just stick with a 60 here soon as it moves into Dorchester County. This is going to become probably a dropped warning within the next 20 minutes because it's starting to move on out. I'm going to actually cut the loop shorter with this. Maybe 10 scans. Actually, it might be more like 15 I have to do. Let's do 15. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to make its way eastward, and it's starting to weaken as well. It's not, the returns on this are not as potent as it was, let's say, 20 to 25 minutes ago, maybe even an hour ago, as this was starting to move onshore. Let me also just look at the height of these storms and what we're looking at in 3D real quick. Just kind of doing some things here to kind of fill the time. We're looking a good ways towards the ground as compared to towards the atmosphere. I mean, this is lower down in terms of where we are based on the tilt. So that does help our situation in terms of getting accurate observations. But that is what's going on right now of these storms that we're looking at a relatively low level at from the Dover Air Force Base radar in Ellendale, Sussex County. Let me look at anything to note in terms of recent updates or statements. Special marine warning for the waters out in Tobin Island, Dorchester County. That will go until probably 9 o'clock, something like that. 8:45. Okay. Hurlock, East Newmarket, you get in some pretty good rainfall. To Trap, Depreston, Federalsburg, you're about to get in. But I think your 60-mile-per-hour winds are still there, but the 70s are starting to subside. We could probably get some winds 60 miles per hour, but those 70-mile-per-hour winds are going to start really subsiding here soon. So do be mindful of that. You'll still deal with some strong winds, but it might not be as intensive as it was earlier on. Delmarva, you'll probably be put under warnings here in the next, I don't know, hour and a half if things do hold. But even then, I think your severe weather risk is going to start lowering because it'll be, by the time these storms get to you, it'll be after sunset. And we'll lose some of the heating of the day. Now, granted, the Maryland Mesonet, the readings are still high. I mean, right now, it is still 85 in Salisbury. And you're starting to deal with some scattered activity. That may help to decrease some of the energy in this area for severe activity. But this is still something you have to contend with. I mean, it rebounded to 80 degrees in Keysville. It's 81 right now in Thurmont. I mean, it's still mid-70s here. And it got an unsettled weather pattern that we're going to be dealing with storms again tomorrow. We are under a slight risk again for severe weather tomorrow. And then there's a marginal risk for Wednesday. So not a settled week whatsoever. And then you look at Thursday. Right now, it's not looking the greatest for severe activity, but we may still have to deal with some form of unsettled weather. So, yeah, this frontal boundary. I'll look at this real quick in the surface maps, but this frontal boundary here, and I'm gonna pull this up on pull this up right here. Notice this frontal boundary is basically kind of right over our area right now, and that's going to be persistent with this upper level trough. We're going to have storms again tomorrow. I have storms again on Thursday as well. So, yeah, brace yourselves. This is going to be a busy week. We might not be done with most of this stuff until Friday. But, man, it's like it never, ever, ever stops in terms of severe weather during the summer here. Let me just something real quick. Just looking at our NBMs, the mixes that I use for the 7-day forecast and all the forecasts that I do for the weekly updates. Our rainfall chances don't really go down until probably till Saturday, and even then, some of the chances are hanging around 40 to 50% until next week. So we might be stuck in an unsettled pattern here for a while, at least in terms of just general thunderstorms. Now, severe, that involves more differentiating dynamics, and that may not be as persistent, but still, we're going to be dodging thunderstorms essentially for probably another 4 or 5 days at minimum. So that's where we are. That's where we are right now. All I will say, the GFS is trying to give us a solid Monday morning and potentially try to get out of Monday just fine. But even then, that's something to worry about down the road. We still got thunderstorms to worry about for tonight and tomorrow. To be quite honest with you, I'm not really sold with these storms right now down in Dorchester County. What I'm thinking is starting to happen here, and I think I'm starting to see it here. It's back building west, and we're starting to get a solidified line develop. Again, this is the third time it's kind of cycled here into a line to the south throughout the course of the afternoon and into this evening. This first initial batch is really starting to weaken as it's moving into Federalsburg, but also, could that be rain just interfering? Perhaps, but a lot of the rain hasn't really hit the Dover radar yet as well. But where we are right now, we got our storms that are ongoing, but they're weakening over in southern Caroline County, northern and northeastern Dorchester County, and we're starting to get a back build to the south again and more redevelopment. And there's more development here towards Smith Island, the Tangier Sound, the Holland Straits, and the Hooper Strait as well. So there is that. There's a warning for Sussex County, Southern Caroline County. That's 60-mile-per-hour winds. We've been getting a good chunk of rain here in Caroline County too. Let me look at the Mesonet, see if there's any points of interest I want to go to. Easton, how much rain have they had? 68 hundredths of an inch. They had 78 hundredths of an inch yesterday, with all that rain from the remnants of Chantal. So, according to the Mesonet, you combine the totals from the remnants of Chantal, I should say. I'm sorry, the remnants of Chantal, with what's happened this afternoon. Man. That's 1.46. We're talking an inch and a half of rainfall in 2 days at that Mesonet station at the Easton Water Treatment Facility. Let me click on that real quick. I think that was just for the one that was flashing here a second ago. Let me go over to the database. Yeah, these storms, that's another problem that we've had today. These storms are moving 15, 20 miles per hour. At the absolute most. So there's your warning. That's for the storm moving east at 15. The storm's progressing south and east, but the eastward progression has been so slow, and we have been dealing with so much rain, and it just continues on and on and on. That warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds, how is that looking? I'm gonna be honest. I think the wind threat on this particular cluster is really starting to subside. Now back to the west, could that intensify again and become a problem for our southern counties? Yes, but right now those winds are not looking as great, and yes, we're having to cut through a little bit of rain, but the way this thunderstorm has weakened over the last 20 minutes or so, it's been on that downward trend where I don't think we're quite seeing that level of intensity right now, at least with that particular complex. Now, this one's going to be a problem for the Delmarva here within a little bit. So, that's the gist of things across the state. I feel like these warnings are starting to get to the point now where they're below that criteria for 70-mile-per-hour winds. So, barring anything else coming out for 70-mile-per-hour winds, which I don't see right now, I'm going to cut off the stream for the time being. The second we start seeing life-threatening weather again, I will go back on. But for right now, I think that the threat subsided just enough to the point where it's not necessarily a destructive or considerable tag level storm, at least for right this very moment. So I will be back if need be. Please remain safe. Watch out for flash flooding. These storms have been dumping a lot of rain. If you're in a flood prone area, that could be a dangerous situation for you. Charles County, St. Mary's, Calvert County, although you could make the argument Charles County should be out of this warning, or should be out of this watch, really. And then, still, they have a lot of Eastern Shore counties up, I think. Along and north of 50 and 301, you're good. There's a severe thunderstorm watch in place. And I'll really say Calvert County, St. Mary's County, Southern Talbot, Dorchester County, into the Salisbury area, Wycomico County, Worcester County, Somerset County. You're going to be dealing with these storms still, and the severe thunderstorm watch is still in place until 9 o'clock. Now, Charles County, Central and Northern Talbot, Central and Northern Caroline County, points north, you're good. You're essentially done with the severe weather threat. But it's really the far southern portions of southern Maryland, St. Mary's County, southern Calvert County, even a good chunk of Calvert County still. You got some back building storms here west of Chesapeake Beach that are rather strong. But those, I think, might be trailing the line a little bit and might be back building. But really, it's the lower Delmarva that is of highest concern, and the eastern portion, the far southeastern portions of southern Maryland, southern Calvert County, southern St. Mary's County, that are of concern right now. So with that said, I will be back as necessary with more if the weather does permit so, i.e. 70 to 80 mile per hour winds or hail, let's say ping pong ball size, 1.5 inches or larger for the time being. Otherwise, be on the lookout, severe thunderstorm watch in place, pay attention to the weather, have multiple ways of getting warnings and getting information. For the time being, stay safe, stay aware, stay weather informed. I'm Jay Mitchell from 410.